little kitty, she's here with us today. Yay, little kitty, sitting on the keyboard. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is just going to be a little video. It's a video I would have liked about a month ago when I was looking into getting a Cintiq, and I had my eyes on the 22 HD, but it was about £400 to £500 second hand, which was quite a lot for me, especially as I'm just starting out on the digital stuff. But what I've got is I had a Surface Pro 2, I've still got it, but I always felt a bit limited by the size of the screen, and I wanted a bigger one. That's what she said, she wants a bigger one. But so I knew I was going to get one of these, and it was a case of which one is it going to be. It was between the 22 HD and the Canvas Pro 20 or 22. They were both around about £400 to £500. And then all of a sudden this one popped up, which is the WACOM CINTIQ 21UX, the first generation one. You know it's the first generation one because the buttons are laid out in this formation, whereas on the second gen they're sort of like, they go all like that. And it's also, this one's grey, and the pen is grey as well. But this video, because at the time I thought, oh, should I get it or not? It was £150, which is a lot better than like £400 to £500. But I thought, is it going to work with Windows 10? And will it work with Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint Pro and stuff? And I couldn't find a video online about it. I searched and searched, so in the end I sort of risked it, I suppose. And the good news is it works perfectly fine. So if you're running Windows 10 and you can find this device for quite cheap, because like £150 I think is quite inexpensive really. So when you get on Windows 10, it doesn't work with the latest Mac OS, I know that, which is why I thought, oh, is it going to work with Windows 10? But you want to get the driver called Wacom Tablet 6 21UX driver thingy. No you don't, you want the 6.3.14-1, and I'll put a link in the description and everything about that for the driver, and I'll also link to a video about disabling Windows Ink, because in Photoshop, if you didn't disable Windows Ink, it didn't do the pressure sensitivity. So you have to disable Windows Ink in Photoshop. Again, I'll put a link in the description for a video on that. But in Clip Studio, you actually have to enable it, which was confusing me a bit. But if you have it running in Clip Studio, it works perfectly fine, and you get your pressure. So hopefully you can see it on the camera, but it goes very light and then very dark. And it just, for me, and I'm running this on a really old computer, because I had a computer under the bed, which I hadn't used for about 2 or 3 years since I got my Surface. And I thought, oh, maybe I can use that, because the good thing is, if I'm rendering a video on the Surface, I can now use this device at the same time, because it's on the computer. I think my computer is maybe pushing it a little bit, because sometimes on Photoshop, when I've got loads of layers and stuff, the computer starts to lag a bit, but the actual device works for me flawlessly. I think, because I thought, oh, it hasn't got anything fancy, it hasn't got like loads of pressure sensitivity like the newer ones, but for me this is perfect. And I have used the Surface Pro 2 I also use a Wacom stylus on that, and the experience has been pretty much the same in terms of the feeling of the drawing experience. The only thing I would say is the pen. I kind of dislike this Wacom pen. It's very fat, and for me it's quite uncomfortable, and it's very long as well. It seems to be strangely long. I don't feel it like it needs to be that long. The good news is you can buy a classic pen, which is a lot smaller. I believe it's closer to that sort of size and shape. So I really want to get that, but one of the problems with getting this first generation one is the accessories are quite hard to come by. That's one of the negatives. I've actually got some positives and negatives that I've wrote because I put a load of notes together for this video. But, oh, and it's also, I've got it on an Ergotron Arm, which again, this is like one of the positives about this thing, is because it's £150, you can afford to get one of these Ergotron Arms, which is about £80, and you're still saving like about 250, maybe even £300. So for me, if you're on a budget, I don't see why you wouldn't get this device really, because I can't see how it wouldn't do anything that you need. It's got express keys, it's got this thing here which allows you to go in and out on the thing, but I've actually also got, where is it? I've got this little thing here which I haven't used yet, which is like allows you to do like your undos and everything, and it's got little wheels. So I'll do a review of that in months' times when I've used it. But straight out the box, I love this thing. I'm totally satisfied with it, and I just wanted to do a video, so if somebody was like me, humming and hawing about it, a bit worried it wouldn't work, I just wanted to say that it does. So what have I put here? Little notes I've put, how does it perform? Oh, the included stand as well. It comes with a stand. I love the stand it came with because it allowed you to tilt it in loads of angles. It was a really good stand. The problem for me was my desk is, I'm quite limited for space. So this Ergotron Arm, it just allows me to have more desk space, because what I do is I put my Surface underneath, and then I can still have my second monitor on this desk. So I feel like that Ergotron Arm is very handy. And again, that Ergotron Arm I found to be very, perfect really. Especially with this device. It's the Ergotron LX, I believe. What else I put here? Software. Yeah, it all works with all the software that I've wanted to use. Pen pressure's been fine. The colours of the screen, it pops. Again, I can't see anything wrong with the colours or anything. I have got, what's it called? The night light activated. If you turn that off, you get your proper colours. But I like to have my night light on. I think it looks quite sexy. What else have we got? How does it feel? Oh, the size of the screen, because it's not widescreen. But the thing is, I actually prefer this size. I don't know why. This format, I believe it's 4x3. I actually prefer that shape to the widescreen, because for some reason, especially in Photoshop, it just feels like you've got more space, and like you can have more stuff down here. Everything, for me, I like this shape better than the widescreen. So, because I was also thinking, do I want a widescreen? Would I rather a widescreen? But no, I really like this shape of it. It hasn't got touch screen. That's the only thing I would like to have had a touch screen with it, I think. But then I did hear a lot of people say they've got like a WACOM CINTIQ with a touch screen, and they end up deactivating it because it actually gets in the way, which is quite funny. I'm going to compare it to the iPad, the Surface, and this little Intuos Small. So all those devices, yeah, it works fine. I haven't got any issues with it. And I am a beginner artist with digital, but for me as a beginner, I honestly can't notice any difference between using this device here on my PC, the Surface Pro with your little stylus, the iPad Pro with the pencil, with the iPad pencil. I would say that experience is probably the best. The iPad Pro with this pencil, it feels very, that's the one that feels the most natural to me. And the shape of the pencil, I love the shape of the pencil. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video where I'm going to compare all of these pencils, all these pens, and how they feel and stuff. But I need more experience before I do that, I think. And then what else have we got? Compare. That's it. So the question is, the takeaway from this video, is it worth it? And I've put someone like me, just starting out, definitely. Again, I can't see anything wrong with it. It's quite funny. So you got your express keys if you want that. You got this thing, scrolly thing, if you want that. But I also love that it's got quite a big bezel, because you can sort of, I don't know, you can like you feel like you can sort of really move it about, which is fun. It is fun. But the other thing I like, what was it I was going to say then? It went out my head. I was going to say something then. Oh yeah, because it's £150 instead of 500, you can be a bit rough with it. You know what I mean? You can sort of throw it about a bit, because you sort of think, well, it wasn't £500. If it was £500, I think I'd be scared to use it in case I broke it. But because it was 150, you sort of think, well, if it breaks, it doesn't matter too much. So there's that sort of element of it not being precious, because it wasn't as expensive. So what have I put? So my positives and negatives. The positives is the price, and like I said, because of the price, you can actually buy one of those Ergotron arms as well, which I highly recommend. I love that thing. It's even got a thing to put the wire in. I'll probably do a separate video on that later. But so that's a bonus. The screen size and shape, I love the size and shape of it. Got no problems with that. The express keys and the scroll wheel, that's a nice little bonus. The big bezel, I love that. And what was it? Yeah, I put, as it's inexpensive, you don't feel precious about it. So what's the negatives? The negative is this fat pen. I really don't like the shape of it. I love the stylus, the tips though. What I did was, you can buy an accessory pack with a load of tips, and you've got hard ones, soft ones, and like spongy ones. But the soft ones, which, what are they? They feel very much like, that feels the closest to working with a pencil really, I think. So I really like the little spongy, the soft tips. I really like those. But I'm not keen on the pen, the shape of it. Maybe I'll get used to it. But again, I put the positive is you can get the classic pen if it bothers you that much. Another negative is it's using Intuos 3 instead of Intuos 4. The second generation one uses Intuos 4. So the negative of using Intuos 3 is it's only got 1000 pressure instead of 2000. But again, it doesn't bother me that. I'm going to be honest, I don't reckon anyone can really tell the difference. I did watch a video, somebody was talking about that. He was comparing 8000 with 1000, and he says you can't really tell the difference. There's some things that you could tell the difference with, but like for me, it doesn't bother me that. I don't think that really bothers me. But the other negative is, like I said, the accessories are quite expensive and hard to find. So if you wanted like the tips and stuff, a little bit harder to find than if you had it Intuos 4, the second generation one. Also, the second generation one's black, but I've kind of fallen in love with this grey. I quite like the grey colour. This is quite nice. And then what have we put here? Oh yeah, there's nothing fancy. So you don't, like I said, you don't get them loads of pressure, and you also, something to do with the RGB range. See, I don't know anything about that. Again, I think it's another one of these things that you're not going to notice unless you're a super professional. But apparently the later ones have got a better representation of colour, so that it matches if you're printing your art out, something like that. But again, for someone like me, that doesn't matter really. And then I've also put, yeah, it hasn't got touch, which is a negative. But again, there's ways around that. If you connect this up to a Surface Pro, you can actually use the screen of the Surface as a touch. So you can actually duplicate the screens and then use your Surface as like a touch device. So that's a way around it. But as I also said, most people I've heard, they actually end up deactivating it because it just gets in the way. So that's a little video here. I just wanted to do that because I thought it might be quite interesting. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a little drawing, but my skills on the digital are very limited. But I'll end with a little drawing. Actually, what I'm going to do is, you've probably seen a drawing now, because I'll put the drawing on as I'm talking. So I hope you enjoyed that. There's a little look at the WACOM CINTIQ 21UX, the first generation one. And I just wanted to say, if you're humming and hawing, if you want to try one of these big screens on a budget, I really recommend this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and draw a lilDENNiS. lilDENNiS is a little co-host of the podcast. I'm turning him into a little character because I love him. So what I'm going to do, I'll just do a little drawing. It's going to be very rough, but hopefully it will just show you how the thing performs. So this is Clip Studio Paint Pro. It's the latest version as well. Look at the state of that arm. See, on the surface, if you double tap on the surface, it erases, and I do miss that. I've got to start using the keyboard because I've gotten used to using the touch on the Surface Pro really. I'm just going to do a little drawing of lilDENNiS. See, this is where you want the pressure. Little nose, big smiley face. His little eyes, look. lilDENNiS, yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll have a line going across there. See, undo that. Boink, boink. What I would do is that, and then go like boink. New layer. Do a little bit of colouring. Boink. So I'm going to colour him in. What are we going to use? What's this one here, look? Never used that before. Yay, that's fun. What I would normally do is I love the sound of it. It does feel very much like, the sound of it is very much like sort of traditional. I like that. These lilDENNiS, look, starting to come to life. lilDENNiS. But I'm so happy with this. I'm really happy that it works as well as it does on Windows 10. Because, like I said, the main thing now is I can use this whilst I'm rendering videos. There he is, look, lilDENNiS. lilDENNiS. What I'll do is I'll colour his little ears in a bit lighter than that. Yeah, I think I will get used to this pen. It's probably just because I'm so used to the Surface Pro pen. I'm so used to that it feels a bit weird. But I am getting used to this one. But I still don't like it. I think it's too fat and long. But basically I see a little drawing. You can see, and what I did was, when I first got it, and I got it running on Clip Studio, I sat here for about an hour just drawing lines after lines, big brushes, layers after layers after layers, to make sure it didn't lag and stuff. So it doesn't lag. The only issue I found is on Photoshop. Actually, I'll go into it now. I'll go into Photoshop now. So on Photoshop, every now and again, I'll touch the screen and it does a little dot. It's almost as if it sort of forgets that I'm using the device. So I don't know whether that's the computer. I feel like that's probably more my computer, but I'm not sure. But Clip Studio Paint is flawless, and Photoshop is flawless, apart from every now and again when if I'm drawing in Photoshop and I don't do any drawing for about a minute or something. When I come back, it might do a little dot, which is a bit weird. So I don't know what that's all about. Boink. Gotta wait. That, what's it called? Creative Cloud. I find that slows my computer down a lot. Like I said, this computer isn't the best thing in the world, but here we go. See, again, it works really good for me. You got your light. If you go light, you got your light. You go dark, push hard, you get your. So in terms of layers, again in Photoshop I just stuck tons and tons of layers and it didn't lag. But that's always more the computer than the device. So the device, as far as I'm concerned, it's perfect. I want to see if it does that thing. It's not going to do it, I don't think. Sounds really nice, doesn't it? So that's basically it. A little look at the WACOM CINTIQ 21UX.